Everybody, I'm live. It's John Hope Bryant, founder, chairman, and chief executive officer of Operation Hope, America's first and largest nonprofit financial services network for the poor, the working class, the struggling class, the teetering class, those with too much month at the end of their money. I'm also the author of a couple best-selling books, How the Poor Can Save Capitalism, Rebuilding the Path to the Middle Class, that's about you, and Love Leadership, the new way to lead in a fear-based world. Boy, do we need that right now today. I'm back in Atlanta, and I'm hitting you with an explanation of why I'm doing all this. My sister told me in the airport when I was in Charlotte today, I needed to talk about the framework of a house and explain what I'm doing in the context of building a foundation in your life. What is your foundation? My sister Mara Hoskin, we call her Monty, inspired me to do this. What's the foundation of your life? What are you standing on? Then what are the, hey everybody signing in, DD from Arizona, and Philip Hinton, and Larry Thompson, and my man AR Harris Logistics, Rose Howell from Fresno, Terrence and Admir and others, Mifo from South Africa. Okay, so my sister said, tell them about the foundation, or ask them what the foundation is for their life. And who's holding up the walls, all right, of the house of your life? Who is the strength that's holding up the walls of the foundation against the foundation of your life? And what's the rooftop? Well, first of all, what's the bearing walls? Which walls of your house can you not do without? And what are the windows you need to open and put somebody out through? There's some folks who just need to go. There's some people who just need to go. They don't have to go, but they got to get the heck out of here. Out of your life. They're negative, they are disruptive, they are destructive, they are doing nothing to bring you up, to hold you up, or to protect you. And that leads to the rooftop. Who's the protection of your life? What is giving you cover in your life? And what things can you not do without? Essentially, this video is about a software upgrade in your life. We need a software upgrade for a generation. That's what I'm really getting at. Poor people, struggling people here and around the world get emotional about things they need to get logical about. And folks in power, in some ways, like seeing you frustrated emotionally because they don't have to respond to that, because you've already reacted. A reaction doesn't require a response. So my question is, how are you responding to pain? But are you just reacting to it? What is your response to life? That's a video I think I did yesterday when I was in Syracuse with my friend Bishop Dewberry. Is life was 10% what life does to you, and 90% how you choose to respond to it. Black America, Latino America, poor people in Africa, poor people in Latin America, poor people in the Middle East, poor people in Europe. Rioting is not the answer. It is a reaction and not a response. Protesting alone is not only not an answer. Now, by the way, we do need protesting. Thank God for protesting in the civil rights movement. But that was intelligent protesting. That wasn't protesting for protesting's sake. Everything in protest in the civil rights movement had a beginning, a middle, and an end. So my question to the protesters are, what's your strategy? And if you have no strategy, then why are you protesting? Is it just public therapy? I mean, in some ways, and I cover this in my new book I'm writing, The Memo. In some ways, we've used 8 years of the presidential Obama administration, Black America I'm talking about now. We've wasted it. We've wasted it. We've wasted 8 years in public therapy. We have become the pissed off race, the protesting race, I'll say it, Black Lives Matter only race. We become the I'm upset at everything race, everybody's against us race. We've got a victim brand, and that brand is not what people invest in. You're not a victim, you're a victor. And yes, people may disrupt your life, may disrespect your life. Somebody may actually try to take your life. Somebody may actually take somebody's life. But when Emmett Till's life was taken in the South, he rose up in the image of all those leaders he inspired to live a dignity-rich response to his pain, to cause real systemic change in society, and not just an energy-fed, emotion-fed, depression-fed reaction. And there's an Emmett Till Foundation to this day. 50 to 60 years later, Rosa Parks was a response, not a reaction. Dr. King was positive. He had decided what he was for in a world that had only decided what it was against. And while most black leaders in the movement were talking to only black people, yeah, you're a victim. Yeah, the white man's oppressing you. Yeah, they putting you down. Yeah, black power. Make you feel good for a minute. But nobody has to tell me I have black power. I know I've got black power. I don't need to make somebody else feel bad to make myself feel good. And when you're saying you got black power, you're telling somebody else they don't have power. You're not getting even. You're just getting angry, and you're pissing other people off who now are rooting for your demise. And while they rooted for your demise in the 60s, it was good because in some ways you knew where people stood. You had people for you and people against you. Today, let me send you the memo, folks, and why the protest generation and why the angry generation is not suitable. Why we have wasted 8 years of the Obama administration being pissed off and angry and frustrated and protesting, and why this brand will not work anymore. You ready for the answer? You ready? Here's the answer. Because in the 60s, people loved you or they hated you. And they hated you, they showed up with robes, designer robes with holes in the top called Ku Klux Klan. They made it clear they hated you. When they loved you, they stood for you. They let you, if you were marching, if you were protesting, you're part of the movement, you stay at my house. Here's some temporary housing. Here's some money. They were for you, they're against you. Today, it's not love or hate. It's radical indifference. People don't care enough about you to hate you today. Boom. That's what's coming next, ladies and gentlemen. And that's why I think we need a software upgrade. That's why I keep saying we have got to migrate this movement from just being one of civil rights in the streets to civil rights in the suites. While we've got to move away from just issues of race and the color line where we're separating each other from each other. Poor people against poor people is a zero-sum game. It's stupid. The folks who are supporting Trump, the chump, those people are poor whites with a high school education who are economically depressed in small towns and are pissed off that the economy walked away from them 50 years ago in the Industrial Revolution, and versus us working together to revitalize the economies of those small towns. We let them drift, and now they're rightly so pissed. Black folks and brown folks in urban America have the same issues as poor whites in rural America. Why are we against each other? Why are we letting somebody else convince us we are against each other? Why are we letting this fool, this Trump chump, who don't care about you? He don't care about you, not one little bit. This is not about, people say, well, why Hillary? I'm not getting into partisanship, but this one is simple. My friend Stevie Wonder can see this, and yes, he knows I use the joke. Anybody can see this. Stevie Wonder don't have a self-esteem problem. He's cool with it. Anybody can see, Stevie can see better than most people can see. Anybody can see this. At least the other person running is about we. You can argue about, which we and whether they're, at least it's about we. This guy's just about me. He's just building a global media brand. That's it. He don't even want to be president. But he's the only guy running for office who don't want to have dinner with the people who are supporting him. It's clearly a game. But we have got ourselves pitted against each other in this stupid argument. It's like rearranging the deck chairs on the Titanic. The ship is sinking and we're picking drapes. My pastor once told me, Reverend Murray, it's not what people call you, it's what you answer to that's important. And never answer out of your name. And then I added, to argue with a fool proves there are two. Now, I've only mentioned this gentleman's name to underscore the point of how ridiculous him running for president is, but more so the constituency that supports him and how much we actually have in common with that constituency and how we're fighting a stupid fight. I've said in another video that racism is stupid scientifically, that 99.9% of our human DNA is precisely the same. Don't trust me with Google and all the internet search engines today. Go check it out for yourself in real time. 99.9% of all human DNA precisely the same, but we argue over 1/4 of 1% that differentiates us by skin color, by eye color, by your eyebrows, your hair, your complexion, when in reality that what you look like emerged over thousands of years in proximity to where the sun was. You're dark in Africa because the sun was direct. Your hair is kinky in Africa because it absorbed the heat rays, because if your brain gets, the skin over your brain is the softest of any place in your body. If your brain cooks, you're done. So God knew what he was doing. He put kinky hair to absorb the heat rays and disperse it. He gave you a wide nose to disperse the heat before it went in your body and cool it like an air conditioning. He knew exactly what he was doing. We have big lips. I don't know why we have big lips, but everybody wants them. By the way, this is my man, Webster, who drives me here. And he's not my driver. He's my partner, my friend, who happens to drive me. But he owns his own business. I'm going to get to him and how he's part of the solution for black folks and why we need to stop this other stupid stuff in a minute. Back to the story. My European friends who are further up on the equator, further up, you go up further in the north into Africa, into North Africa, you become lighter because the sun is less direct. The curls become looser because the sun is less direct. You jump over some water and you get into Southern Europe. All of a sudden we say these are white people. Come on now. The first person that walked the face of the earth for everybody was African. I'm not saying we're all African. I'm saying we're all the same. Again, I'm not trying to separate or to suggest that one person's better than the other. We're all God's children. What are we arguing about? But when you get into Italy, you have people with an olive skin and loosely curled hair. I mean, European brothers, men are the only one who pinch women's rear end. You know that that Italian brother is a brother. I mean, a black man. I'm joking, but I'm serious, but I'm joking. And then you go up further in Europe and people's skin is lighter and it absorbs cold weather because in Central Europe, it's cold. And you get up to where my brother Håkon Magnus is, the Crown Prince of Norway. In Norway, in the Nordic countries, it's cold. I went there on December to give a speech, and the lady who drive me in zero weather talking about you want to go scuba diving. I want to go scuba diving. It's cold out here. You out your mind? I got on 3 parkas, 5 sweaters, a scarf, and she's got on, basically short pants and flip-flops because that's where God made her so that she could adapt to that weather, and it's no big deal because God made us to work precisely in his universe. They have narrow noses to serve as a heat vacuum, a heater for the air before it goes into their lungs. Long hair to cover their ears because their ears get cold. Anybody's ears get cold, you're done. We were born perfectly, and if you put the North American and South American continent and you remove the water, look at a map, folks. Don't just look at a club. Don't just don't just listen to rap music, simple things. Look at a map. Read a book, right? All of us, we need to pick up a book. Like, look at a map. Remove the water. If you take North America and South America and Europe and Africa and put them together, click, because they were once one. But we're arguing over stupid stuff. What's the framework of your life? What's the foundation of your life? What's the walls of your house? What's the roof of your house? And do we have a software upgrade, or are we doing the same dang on stupid thing we've been doing for 50 or 60 years? Arguing, complaining, marching, pissed off, basically depressed. 250 years of slavery, 100 years of Jim Crow, ending in our lifetime. 1970, not 1870, 1970, means that 70% of black Americans, yes, I'm going to say it, clinically undiagnosed depressed. You have a reason to be crazy, okay? But nobody cares about your drama anymore. So we have got to get over it. What my friend Quincy Jones said, we need a moratorium on childhood trauma. It's not that you don't deserve to be angry. It doesn't work anymore. We need a software upgrade, and that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about moving in the suites, not just in the streets. I'm talking about issues of class and poverty, not race and the color line. Things that somebody once said to me, John, you're really talking about our strengths, and that is it. I want you to focus on your strengths, not your weaknesses. We know what our weaknesses are. We know who's against us. What are you going to do about it? My basic premise of all of my books, of everything I'm saying is, life is tough. And this black man here, raising a child, not even of his own birth, but he says, I'm your father. Taking care of his responsibilities, taking care of his household, running a business. You think he's just a driver? He's a business owner, and a cool one too.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. He's making smart sexy again. We've been making dumb sexy for too long. We've dumbed down and celebrated it. We got to make smart sexy again. So this is about raising up, folks. This is about having a new attitude of gratitude and a vision of success, and deciding that you're going to be the strength in your life, and watch how you live your life. It may be the only Bible anybody else reads. This is an open source university. Some people pay a lot of money for what I'm talking about to you every week. My speech, when people pay me, commercial fee is very expensive because I'm not a motivational speaker. I'm a CEO. You got to pay me for my time if I'm going to get off the dime. But when I do it for free and do it because of me, then I do it at no cost to you. I'm not going to mention names, I don't want to jam them up, but there are a lot of people who are giving you motivation, inspiration, and knowledge, and charging you a lot of money for it. All I'm saying is be inspired, change your life. Nothing I'm saying is rocket science, and it's hard to argue with it because it's common sense. Nothing. This is a radical movement of common sense. Now, my man Webster, we didn't discuss this. I just said I was going to do a video. Webster, is this making sense to you?
Plenty.
What makes the most sense to you about this, Webster?
We dumbing down.
We're dumbing down.
Yeah.
So Quincy Jones says it takes 20 years to change a culture. In the last 20 years, we've made dumb sexy. We've dumbed down and celebrated it, and we've got to make smart sexy again. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different outcome. Let me ask you a question. All this stuff we're doing, protesting, again, we're getting known as the protest people, the pissed off people, the frustrated people, the angry people. Who's going to invest in that? Who's going to hire people who are known to be the angry people? All this stuff we're doing, the flag, the this, sitting down, standing up. Okay, you feel better. Has anything changed? Is that going to inspire anything to change? By telling people the white people you're the devil, is that, you think, going to get them to feel more morally in line with you? When you're a minority, a minority, that should say something to you. You can't win by war. You can't win by force. There's not been a terrorist group in the history of the world that's ever succeeded. Ever. Don't trust me, check your own facts. You got to move through evolution, not just revolution. You need to rise up, and you need to get people to have a moral backing of what you're doing. Get them to back you because you're right, because being right is indisputable, and they cannot reject what is right for not just you, but for them. You're basically saying, do it because it's what you'd want to happen if it was you were talking about. If this was your child we're talking about. If this was your cousin we're talking about. White man, black man, Asian man, Latino man, European man, whatever we're saying here, no rational person would disagree with, and that is how you get somebody to rally on your side. Not by saying you're a punk, you're a chump, you're a racist, you're a bum. Let me tell you something. I'm going to drop the mic here. Talk without being offensive. Listen without being defensive. And always leave even your adversary with their dignity. Because if you don't, they'll spend the rest of their life trying to make you miserable. Now, I want you to think about what I've said in the context of what you're seeing in the newspaper, what you're hearing every day, and ask yourself, every time you see something having respect to poor people, to black people, brown people, oppressed people, every time you see us rise up, hold a press conference, say something, do something, ask, what's the strategy? Ask, what's the outcome? Ask, is this a reaction or a response? Does it respond? Does it answer anything? And then it will answer itself. And then figure out how to build your house. This is John Hope Bryant, unbossed, unbiased, coming at you straight and no chaser, with much love of civil rights. We are living in a moment in history right now, folks. History doesn't feel historic when you're sitting in it. It just feels like another day. But that don't mean that what's going on is not historic, and don't mean you don't have a role to play. I'm going to drop another mic for you, because somebody here is calling me all kind of names, saying this brother's out of touch. That's okay. You say whatever you want. It's okay if you don't like me. I like me. Somebody put in a note, this brother can say what he wants. He writes his own check. Precisely right. Okay? And I'm going to keep saying what I want. And Webster writes his own check too.
Yes, sir.
He'll tell you who you don't want in this car. Is that right?
That's right.
We don't want bums in our car. We don't want useless people in our car. I don't want useless people in my office. Don't come in my office with all that drama. Black, white, I don't care what color you are. I want you to produce something of value. Is that right, Webster?
That's right.
Do we have this conversation before?
Yes, we did.
Yeah, but we didn't prep this conversation. We're just talking, right?
Just talking.
This is common sense. And anybody with common sense knows this is true. We have got to upgrade our software. We have got to do something other than being angry. And no, I'm not angry. I'm frustrated and I'm very passionate. So we need an independence of thought. We need to set ourselves free. And the new definition of freedom is self-determination, which is why I keep getting you to focus on going to Operation Hope, getting those free services. Go to the National Urban League. Go to La Raza. Go to whatever program can help you set yourself free and measure your progress or the lack thereof by that. Now, if I tell you to go to Operation Hope and then they let you down, you come see me personally. I will personally make a call on your behalf. The services are free. Raise your credit score, become a homeowner, become an entrepreneur, volunteer if you can in one of our classrooms, be the solution you want to see in the world. No one's coming to save you. You have to do that for yourself. I'm out. Love you. I'll respond in the comments later. Peace and light.